Okay, so let's dive into an ancient story that is, and I'm not exaggerating here, one of the wildest ones out there. We've got a king who is so scared he's willing to pay anything for a magical fix. We've got a famous prophet who's caught between greed and a divine command. And believe it or not, we've got a donkey that sees a truth hidden in plain sight.
You know, at its heart, this is really a story about blindness and sight, but probably not in the way you're thinking. These three characters are on a collision course, and the one you'd least expect is actually the one holding the key to survival. So let's kick things off with the man whose fear gets this whole ball rolling.
So, our story starts with King Balak of Moab. And this guy is gripped by a kind of terror that's just off the charts. I mean, he has armies, he has walls, but he's up against a threat so huge that, fighting it with swords and shields just feels completely pointless. He needs a different kind of weapon, something supernatural.
Balak's problem really comes down to sheer numbers. The Israelites are described as this massive horde, so many people that the Moabites are afraid their whole kingdom will be licked up as an ox licks up the grass of the field. I mean, what a terrifying image. So for Balak, this isn't just some border dispute. This feels like a potential apocalypse. His fear is so deep, it pushes him right past military strategy and straight into the world of magic.
So, what does he do? He sends for a famous prophet for hire named Balaam. And his message is incredibly direct. He's not asking for advice. He's not looking for a battle plan. He is trying to commission a supernatural strike. He truly believes that Balaam's words can literally change reality, and he is ready to pay top dollar to make it happen.
And this brings us to Balaam, a man who is now in a very, very tricky spot. On one hand, you've got a king offering him just immense wealth and honor. On the other hand, he has a direct line to God, who, let's just say, has a very different opinion on the whole thing.
And this is where it gets really interesting. God's first command is a hard no, super clear. Balaam even sends the king's guys away. But then an even bigger, more important group of messengers show up with promises of even bigger rewards, and Balaam asks again. This time, God gives him permission, but it's a permission slip with some really, really dangerous fine print. Go with them, but do only what I tell you.
So Balaam hears the go, but maybe he's not paying enough attention to the do only what I tell you part. He saddles up his donkey, probably already thinking about that huge payday, but this decision, this choice to walk that fine line between obedience and his own ambition, is exactly what sets him on a reckless path and triggers a truly wild divine intervention on the road to Moab.
All right, so the journey itself is where this story just goes from interesting to cinematic. As Balaam is riding along, an angel of the Lord, totally invisible to him, stands right in the middle of the road with a drawn sword, ready to stop him permanently. And this is the central irony of the entire story, right here. The professional seer, the guy famous for his divine connection, is completely blind to what's right in front of him, probably because his head is full of dollar signs. But his donkey, its eyes are wide open. It sees everything.
You can just feel the tension building with each step. First, the donkey sees the angel and bolts into a field to get away. Balaam gets annoyed and beats it. Then they're in a narrow path with walls on both sides. The donkey tries to squeeze past the angel, crushing Balaam's foot against the wall. He gets beaten again, even harder. Finally, there's nowhere to go. The donkey just lies down, and Balaam, now totally furious, just starts wailing on the poor animal, completely clueless that it's trying to save his life.
And right there, at the absolute peak of Balaam's rage and this animal's suffering, the universe just decides to break its own rules. This is the moment that should have stopped the prophet cold and made him realize that, hey, maybe wisdom can come from the most unexpected places.
The Lord opens the donkey's mouth, and it asks the most logical, rational question in the world. It's not some deep prophecy, it's a simple, straightforward plea. What have I done to you? Why are you doing this?
Now, Balaam's response is it's unbelievable. He doesn't faint, he doesn't fall on his knees. He's so consumed by his own anger that he gets into a full-blown argument with his donkey. He actually yells back, "If I had a sword, I'd kill you right now." I mean, think about that. He is literally arguing with a miracle.
And it's only after this completely absurd argument that the real reveal happens. God just peels back the veil, and for the very first time, Balaam sees what his donkey has been seeing the whole time. The angel of the Lord, standing right there in the road, sword drawn. And the angel doesn't mince words. This wasn't some random obstacle. This was a direct intervention. The angel basically says, yeah, I'm here to stop you. Your path is reckless, and you are about 2 seconds away from paying the ultimate price for it.
Then the angel makes the stakes crystal clear. If the donkey hadn't turned away, I would have killed you by now, but I would have spared it. Wow, the very animal that Balaam was abusing was the only thing keeping him alive. His so-called wisdom was total blindness. His animal's supposed ignorance was life-saving vision.
So a very humbled, and I'm guessing terrified, Balaam continues his journey. That brush with death completely shattered his greedy motivations. He's no longer the powerful, influential prophet for hire the king was expecting. He is now something else entirely.
And when he finally meets the king, you can feel the power shift immediately. Balak is still talking about money, about rewards. But Balaam, fresh off his near-death experience, is a totally changed man. His answer is a complete surrender. He's not for sale anymore. He's just a messenger.
This table just sums up the complete 180 perfectly. Look at King Balak. His goal was to hire a prophet to do his bidding, but his reality is now he's stuck with a prophet he has zero control over. And Balaam, who started out chasing wealth and fame, ends up as an unwilling mouthpiece for God. His whole agenda got erased by that angel in the road.
And just like that, the king's entire grand plan is doomed. The whole journey to Moab accomplished the exact opposite of what Balak wanted. The prophet he paid a fortune for has been completely taken over by the very power he wanted to curse. The man who wanted control ended up with none at all.
Which really leaves us with one last question to chew on. In a story packed with people trying to see the future and control their destiny, who was the true visionary? Was it the king who was blinded by his fear? The prophet who was blinded by his greed? Or was it the humble animal who simply saw the truth that was standing right in front of it? It really makes you wonder what truths might be standing in our own path if only we had the eyes to see them.